I'd like to welcome everybody to another Life is Not a Game podcast squad. Of course, my name is Velly. I'm one of the three hosts along with Tyler and also Erin. I don't know which side they are on me right now, but
You're in the
this is a
middle.
podcast. I'm in the middle. Okay, good. Yeah, both of these beautiful people right here. So this podcast and talk show that we do, you can also catch us doing our spaces, even on Spotify. We talk to your favorite content creators, influencers, pro players, essentially anybody that can get a check mark on Twitter or anybody that could be popular for something. We bring them in to talk about just real shit.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
coming
Okay,
from
so-
two-thirds of us that don't have a check mark here, Velly.
Okay.
Oh my God. You guys are horrible. Listen, check marks do not define your success. It's a benefit, but it doesn't end it.
Help.
Yeah, tell my parents
it helps,
that,
it
okay,
helps.
Erin?
It helps, but it's not the end all be all. But I have to say that check marks aren't predatory practices, but there's a big conversation happening right now in social media from a PC custom based company. Now we'll put the video in Twitch and you guys can make your opinions and assessment from that. But we want to have a conversation because all of us have some sort of experience working with companies and brands, whether it's predatory practices or good experiences too. We want to talk about all and also answer any of you guys' questions or bring up any in the comments. We want this to be a great discussion. Now, I have to say, Tyler, in
Yes.
the video, which I will drop once I ask you this question, one of the points that were brought up by, I believe it's the head of the company or one of the staff members of the company, brought up how an individual not hitting the 5K threshold for followers justified why I guess that they can't receive a PC or there's something negative connotation when it came to across the board. All they had was maybe like 3K followers. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing towards this person, just reiterating what this individual said.
Yeah.
So Tyler, with you, when it comes to like social media numbers or working with brands and companies, like how would you feel if a company was like, you're too small?
Well, as somebody that's just cracked 2K Twitter followers myself, I am outright I'm offended at their actions. This is honestly, it's something that if you're going to have that rule, specify that to begin with, but they wanted everyone to feel like equals, even though they outed themselves completely live on stream. This Star-Lord looking dude is just like, yeah, sorry, I don't know about that, Chief. It's not a good look in any capacity because all these streamers, these hardworking people that try to balance having a successful stream going live while posting content on TikTok and YouTube, and it's this whole dance and this kind of thing that you have to pick up over time, become an expert at, and they put in a lot of their time, and it shouldn't single them out just because their following isn't up to par. If that's what you want your free marketing for, then you got to say that outright. Otherwise, now they just outed themselves completely, not doing business.
And you know what, Tyler? You just said something really important that you didn't even realize, and it just hit me. You said they're trying to grow their numbers and followers on all of these different platforms. Why the fuck does that shit never get accounted for? Like, yo, I think about it all the time. I look at people on like Instagram. So my Instagram is just starting to grow. It's just starting to grow, right? I have like almost 3K followers. You know, I'm like a beginner IG model face, type of numbers. But my Twitter is bumping, and I have two vastly different audiences amongst both of those platforms. And it's like I could get turned down because of my Instagram numbers. Like that gets looked down on. Like, oh, are you really like an influencer person? But it's like you look at my Twitter though, and like I could go motherfucking viral in the next 5 minutes. So it's like I don't know. I thought that was interesting, but go ahead, Tyler. You can finish your thought.
Well, it's funny that you say that because a lot of the time, trying to juggle, unless you have people helping you, trying to pop off on every possible or every main social media platform, it's hard because the way that you engage with people, the way that you have to format your content, that's all different on every spectrum. So when you have somebody that gets big in one place, it's so much easier to actually become an influencer and reach out and expand your brand. When you try to do it all at once, it never works out. But when they're scraping other people's channels and they're like, even combined all your stuff together, you didn't even hit 5K, I can't help you. Don't you how do you not have the self-awareness to realize that let's just eat the cost and give this PC to them? They won fair and square, because the bad PR that we're going to get is not going to be worth trying to save this extra money here or getting this to somebody else. They already screwed themselves there.
I have to say, okay, so I for me, I definitely understand it. I think how they went about it was messed up. They shouldn't have done it. I think two things can be true. I think one, there are predatory practices and certain individuals behind the brands that don't treat that don't know how to evaluate talent beyond just numbers. I also think that there are creators that have to learn how to sell themselves. It's not all just about numbers.
True.
Numbers, are they a part of it? Yes, numbers are a part of it. But I always say it's not just about numbers, it's the context. What kind of person are you? Are you someone who has high engagement? There are some content creators that have lower numbers that sell more than bigger talent. So you have to understand, like, when
Very
you're selling
true.
your point, like, what can you do? For example, Velly, Tyler, me. One of the things I could say for us is because we're in media, we are influencers who influence other influencers. So we have
Yes.
big influencers who follow us, who engage with our content. And even though sometimes our tweets may pop off and sometimes they don't, we understand that value. And I think that there
Yes.
has to be a balance of these brands have to not just do these free marketing bullshit stuff that's very predatory. But also I think that there are times where talent also have to understand about how to sell themselves correctly to get these opportunities. Because sometimes they may be like, oh, this person didn't pick me because I'm small. No, that's not always the case. There's some amazing people who work at brands who are fair. It's just the way that you pitched it wasn't a good pitch. So there has to be a balance.
No, big time. Shoot, I was thinking about this situation as well. That's some shitty PR that company just brought upon themselves. So I'm looking at a road of two different universes, right? One of the universes is the one that we live in. I say, hey, guess what? We're gonna drop your ass because you don't have so and so amount of followers now, and yeah, you're gonna get negative. But what about if there's a company that says, you know what? Let's give this person the PC and let's help them build their following. And this just shows that our products can help you grow. Hello, people don't think that way. And I think that a lot of practices are bullshit and predatory in many ways as well. I got turned down for a product because of my following and reach wasn't there. But then they went and hired some pretty little blonde joint. You know, she was talented, and she didn't have numbers at all, like less than 300 followers. And I'm like, come on, like at what point in time does it, like, you take a look at business as a business? You know what I'm saying? Recently, Aaron, I work with a brand, and I was really new to technology and tech, influencing that, right? And it was the best experience of my life. Can I flex for a second?
Please.
Yeah, go. Yo, I mean,
right.
go ahead.
All right, my
I'll
place
actually
is kind of a
let
mess
you.
right now. My place is kind of a mess right now because I've been traveling back and forth. I moved in 2 weeks ago, and I haven't even moved in yet.
Man
okay?
looks like he lives
I
in a
know.
stock photo, and he's like, "Oh, my place is a mess right now."
Look at my picture. This is stock as a motherfucker, man. Yo, so check this out. So, all right, I did CES for TCL, and I was banging, right? And TCL, they sent me a nice phone, a TCL 30 and whatnot, and that's been dope. And I've been showing it off to them, and they understood. Like, we had open conversations, and the guy was like, yeah, you know, like, we can bring in those really big influencers and whatnot to just show off a product. They're like, you know, bringing in someone like you have a following that's really into what you do. You have a following that actually listens to what you do. Yeah, you have 20K, that's not a million or 500,000, but that's still a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, the influence is there. After CES for Valentine's Day, they sent me a webcam, they sent me a phone, and I was really happy. I was showing it off, and people loved it. Got a lot of interaction, right? Because, I mean, let's be honest, not a lot of people know that TCL sells phones, do they? No, exactly. I'm about to bring that thing up in a second.
I'm gonna
But check
pretend
this
like
out.
you didn't just teach me that right now.
But let me go get wait. I'm gonna get it in a second. But you know what else they gave me? And okay, this is where, like, I have to step up my game as a growing influencer. So it takes both, you know, to tango. I couldn't just post up a random bullshit picture and whatnot. I was waiting for the right time where I could get the right amount of, you know, influence and whatnot. Clicks, people with eyes that'll look at it. Right before my Call of Duty major. No better timing than that. They partnered with Call of Duty. They sent me this, and this is love. This is. Do you see this big old TV? Do you see that?
I love
Do you
how
see-
it barely
they sent me a little,
fits in the webcam. Where
It
you're-
barely fits. They sent me a little 65-inch joint, and it's like, yo, that is amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what? You know what? I didn't have to have the following of Ninja. I didn't have to have the following of all these other people. They saw me for what I could do for them, and they worked with me to help not only me grow, but to help them grow at the same time. It was a partnership, and it works extremely well. So guess what I'm gonna do? As a beginner to this tech influencer shit, I'm gonna take a nice picture, post it, and there's growth all around, Aaron. And I
Oh
didn't even
yeah.
need a check mark to do it.
Absolutely, and you don't. I mean, I'm sorry. There's some bullshit happening in the background.
You can't
So
hear it.
I can't control it. So basically, like, no, I 100% agree. I've worked same thing. I've worked with a tech company, Hisense, and had to do a short content piece. Got a TV for it because I was moving. I have to give a big shout out to Puma and Turtle Beach and Rocket, because the thing I really love about working with these brands is, yes, they do have discount codes. Well, Puma occasionally, but Turtle Beach and Rocket, they have discount codes. The important thing, though, is, like I always say, it's not the affiliate programs or the discount programs that are the problem. It's the predatory individuals behind it. So, for example, with both of those companies, I get, if they're big enough, I get a yearly pay plus the discount code that I use, plus they have me in various different activations. I just did a photo shoot for them to promote their products in store and digital. So there's like, when companies and brands provide value to you, aside from just the affiliate programs and even the pay, that's when you create that brand loyalty. Even like Turtle Beach and Rocket, they're like, what do you want to do? What are you passionate about? You want to do D&I stuff? How can we help? So if I want to like I told them, I want to support creators of all sizes. So they'll be like, all right, well, what creators do you want to support this month? And I'm like, okay, it's Black History Month. There's 2 amazing Black creators. I want to give them some products so that we can help them with their, with their growth of their business.
Right.
They said, done deal, send it. And like, it's never an issue. It's like these brands that show value to creators, they show that let's work and build together. And I have to say, shout out to my agents. They did a really great job selling me. But more importantly, it's that relationship where it's not just a transactional relationship, but it's the viewpoint of business where if you grow, our company grows. If you do awesome shit, no matter how big your following is, it's only going to come back to us. But not every individual who works in the creator marketing side of things, they don't look at it as like, okay, you have to have some creators and some influencers who have big numbers and big engagement. You just have to. It's business. But what about the other creators? Some of them are great thought leaders where they influence other influencers. Some of them have very niche communities that you need to have access to. Like, there's more that you have to think about. And it's just unfortunate that some people at these companies don't think about it.
What would have been the difference if they said, "Oh, we can't give you this PC because of your numbers"? Oh, hold on, let me Google a bot follower account service real quick. Bang! All right, now I got 10K followers. Like, what's the difference? You actually it doesn't matter how small your community or your niche might be. If they're highly engaged, exactly the same scenario that you were in, Velly, as well with TCL.
Hey.
They recognize that.
Hey, hot take. The best type of influencer are the influencers that influences influencers. Aaron, you got me on this shit now. You know what? I was thinking about it while you were talking. I was taking pictures on the Call of Duty desk with the Puma shirt that you got me. And it's like, that
Love you
gets
for that.
reach, right? That gets reach. I love you for that. Like Shady, Mix and Poppy, everybody knows Garrett. I was wearing his little clothing line thing when it first came out, the joggers with the shirt. When I went to Europe and shit, and that stuff got a lot of hits and people saw it. And it's like, hey, it's dope. Like, reach isn't defined by the numbers on your social media, and companies will never realize that. I hate it, man. Just get someone that can put the word out there, put the message out. And that's really all that matters at the end of the day.
Well, also it's about, like, going back to influencers, right? It is about the individuals who have the power of word of mouth, I would say. So, like, for example, with the Puma thing, I contacted you, I contacted various different esports broadcasters across the board. And even some content creators. I didn't even really ask you guys to share. You guys did it on your own. Even Shocks, who has like the biggest following, shared it.
She did, yeah.
Yeah, she shared it, but it was because of the relationship I have with you guys. Because, like, I think that's another point too. Is like, they have to understand that there are creators whose value points are the relationships that they have with other individuals, other brands, other companies. So like
Yes.
I may not have the biggest retweet value, but one of the values I have is if I hit up any of my friends who are notable people to ask them to support, more than likely they will. And I
Yeah.
also am someone who could easily call up an executive, go and ask to get something done, or like if I want to if I want to do something with Riot, right? I know enough people there that I can be in the meetings and I can be in the rooms that others can't. So it's
Yeah.
like you have to like the valuation of a creator or an influencer, it goes beyond just numbers. But Tyler, I have a question for you. Like,
What's up?
you know, as you, because, well, even Velly, you too. We all are growing our numbers. We all are growing our followings. You know, we're doing this podcast as a way for people to get to know us more. My question to you guys is how much thought do you actually put into your social media numbers?
Probably. I guess it's different for me. Like, I'll be obsessing over YouTube numbers, but like Twitter is like, you know, it's like not as big as a deal. Where depending on what your focus is, like esports, like me trying to be a more prominent esports caster, I should focus on Twitter more, and I know that. Like, I try to tweet things that might seem more relevant, that'll kind of give that sort of value. Where I think a lot of that just comes down to what you love to really do and focus on. Otherwise, it can get pretty hectic. Like I get jealous of how good Velly is at Twitter. I'm like, man, I would if I find out
hate
if I
that I gotta
find
be professional
if
now.
I find
hate it.
out that that's not you and somebody's been tweeting for you, I'm gonna be so upset, man. I'm gonna be heartbroken. I hope that's all you.
My Twitter is basically all of my malfunctioning brain cells just hitting hit tweet, send tweet, send tweet. Send tweet. You know what, Aaron? I would say the past half year, I have not given a fuck about social media.
Same.
Like,
That's the secret, I
and
guess.
it's not the secret until it is. Like that's why I'm so hard to get in touch with nowadays, which I need to do better at now. Now I'm back in it because I start working in soon. But like last week I was in Vegas and it was like I just didn't hit anybody up. Like I just focused on real life. I check my phone for important emails, important DMs, and then that's it. I'm out of there. I do think that it is important though, and it's healthy to have a good amount though, because no matter what conversation that we have, no matter how right we are, we cannot change the minds of people that don't understand. And the thing is, not everybody understands the right path because the road works differently in everyone else's eyes, right? So I've always had the belief that if I had a healthy number over 10 to 20,000, that is fine. There is no difference between 20,000 and 60,000. Maybe you got 150,000. That's a motherfucking difference. Maybe a million. That's a difference. But you know what? I think I'm almost at 25 now on Twitter. I'm almost at 3 now on Instagram. I get like 600, 700 interactions on my stories. I get 300 interactions on my likes. Shit. If my fucking girl isn't, I get obviously more because, you got all you guys out there just fondling. But it's like, other than that, it's have a healthy number that is good and then just rock it after that. I need to start my TikTok. I do think that even though we do say numbers aren't everything, it is still good to put yourself out there because you're going to want to have that type of reach. And that's the reason why I have a base limit on the numbers I need to have. I'm going to start a TikTok soon for when I go to Texas today. I'm going to start posting a lot more on Instagram. My goals on Instagram, I want 5 to 10,000. Twitter, I'm done. I'm good. TikTok, I don't know what I want to do yet because I'm flowing. I'm like water, baby.
Honestly,
Do
just do
10-minute
whatever you
videos,
want on
man.
TikTok, to be honest. Like, dude, like, you know what it is? Kind of going back to what you guys were saying. I just decided, you know what? I'm not going to stress about my social media numbers. I'm going to because another thing, too, we have to keep in mind, we're not content creators. We're broadcasters. That's what we're great at. Like, that is our main focus, is to be great in broadcasting because that builds our numbers.
Speak for your fucking self. I do great content. When I actually do it.
But would you consider yourself first a content creator or a broadcaster first?
Exactly. You got to focus on what you do more of. So you're right.
Damn.
And because of that, content creation is secondary for us, but it could be a complementary to our actual work. And I mean, that's another thing too, is like going back to what I was saying, understanding the kind of person or creator or individual that you are That's why I don't stress about content creation. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna put this out. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I don't care. Like I don't
Yeah.
stress about numbers anymore because the second you stress about numbers, then you have to think that everything is about numbers. But I have to say, I've gotten projects and I've gotten big brand stuff off of a post that had like no numbers, but they were just like, we really love your personality. We think you're great for it. And it was one that didn't even have high engagement.
That's that gaming shit, though. That's that gaming shit.
It
Because
is.
in
Gaming
gaming,
esports.
in esports, they don't fucking understand marketing. And I'm coming from a family where I have marketers in there that are living life. Like they live in a mansion for a reason, okay? They know marketing. So that motherfucker trickled down on me. And for some reason in esports, your pay and your everything, every opportunity you get is all based on numbers. And I will say this, when my numbers shot up, I got a lot more opportunities, and I thought it was bullshit because I personally feel like I was better back then than I am now. And I hate that.
Look at that.
It is an esports and gaming problem. I'll be honest. Like,
It's the
it
worst.
really is. But you know, also part of it is like, I don't know if it's because of bandwidth issues or individuals not having experiences. I'll be honest. Part of the problem with esports and gaming is that people do not have, some people do not have experience beyond just esports and gaming. Like, that is why I personally feel like we do need to bring some non-endemic people, obviously in a collaborative effort. But people have to understand that, like, for example, one of my friends, she is part of the talent team for Astro Gaming headsets and stuff like that. And she came from like a music and photography background, but like she understands the influencer market. And so the way that she views things, it's different. So she's someone who's like, yes, I'm going to categorize certain talent for different value points. But it's like, I'm not just going to like sign a talent because they're big. Because I'll be honest, there's some talent who have massive numbers and they can't sell anything. Like they don't sell more than some other people do.
Because the numbers don't equate to that. Can I
it
interject
doesn't.
for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Tyler.
What's up?
Remember when I was a nobody and we were doing take the cake tournaments?
Feels
in
like a
Gears of
million
War?
years ago, but I do remember.
I had no following. I
I
had like 2,000 followers, 3,000, whatever. I was a nobody. And like I was hit up to do tournaments. I hit up people to where I was able to get sponsors. I had like G Fuel at the time was in it. I got orgs to help me out. And I got Astro Gaming to help me out. And because that I was running tournaments that was pulling like 1K viewers in Gears of War, and it was big. Do you know that I got into Rainbow Six? I got more stature, and I couldn't get sponsors from like G Fuel and stuff like that anymore. Like I just my numbers didn't match up to the likes of like a King George or something, so I didn't
I
have any push. Meanwhile, I had a very interactive community of over 1,000 people that tuned into just the live stream, not counting the YouTubes or people that saw the clips or people that came by and just wanted to know what was going on. Like I got more back then than I did now, and it's so funny. It's so weird because it's like when I was in my hungry phase, more came to me, and I was able to push out a lot more. And now that I'm here, it's actually harder because now they see me under a different light. I'm not just a guy that they could give a little bit to and I make the most out of it. I'm the guy that they look at like, oh, he has 20K followers. We could go with him. Let's go with someone with 100K and let's pay them 30K to do this and that, and let's just hope for the best. Rather than the guy who was able to put it all out there and was able to get results and was able to get a success. That stuff is so weird to me. Like ever since I got bigger, I got put into a different box, which it gets me a lot of opportunities I didn't have before. But at the same time, I'm not able to get the same opportunities that I really want still that I used to get when I was a no-name nobody.
That's the key thing. The one thing that you did highlight with what you did in Gears was effort, and everybody loves that.
Do they get burned now so they don't want to deal with other influencers? Like they're real picky and they only want to
What,
go
the
for the big
staff?
numbers?
Hey, clout's a hell of a drug.
The opportunities,
I mean,
like the opportunity, like I have a question, like because like I get judged with my numbers whenever it comes to stuff like that. Like, are they real picky and always want to pick the big people because like they've been burned going with influencers around like my level of following and whatnot? I don't know. Like I'm really
No.
confused now that I'm thinking about
No.
it.
That's not how they go about it. I mean, that's not how a good talent acquisitioner should go about it. Because I mean, listen, like I said, at the end of the day, you still need big people because you need
Oh, I
reach.
did.
And
I
also,
did.
you know, especially when you're doing these business deals, there are not ROIs, but there are markers that they have to hit yearly or quarterly, right? So of course you need that, but a really good talent acquisition is not going to just look at numbers. They're going to look at like, who are you influencing? What's your community? You know,
I
what
was
are
on
you really great
Mixer,
at? Because sometimes
Microsoft.
they may bring people who are better, to be honest, who are better in marketing content. Because
Yeah.
I'll be honest, some big time people are just not good on camera. They're not good. They're not photogenic. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Everyone has a different value point. But the really great talent acquisitioners will identify those value points to help with providing that value of building them, but also understanding what value that talent can bring to them to build them up.
You're right.
I mean,
Now
look.
I would. Oh, go ahead.
Well, you know, Velly, you're gonna get even more opportunities than you've gotten previously in your career at this point, especially seeing where you're at hosting Call of Duty. But before then, you were doing Valorant, but you weren't like full on that onto Valorant, like as far as broadcast goes. Then at Rainbow Six, you were mainly the desk host there, but you came in
My
kind
head
of.
is getting bigger. Keep going.
Well,
Keep
hold
going.
on. You came
I like
in
this.
like the middle ground of the lifespan of the esports there. Whereas Gears, we go all the way back to the beginning, and you were there from the beginning. So your influence kind of took up, it's like the most of the pie when it comes to everyone's attention for that specific space or community. You did that with Gears. It was a lot harder for you to achieve that with Rainbow Six and with Valorant, but now where you're at with Call of Duty, it's back to where it was in Gears in terms of that attention span. I think
Is,
you're going to
man.
be crushing it as long as you keep doing what you're doing.
I hope so. Thank you, man. I appreciate you, baby. You better watch my event this weekend, Tyler. All right. Yo. All right. So now that we're talking about being talented and whatnot, I have a question. So we were talking about it earlier, and so I want to hear some opinions because I feel like we're gonna go back and forth on this one. Oh, hold on. Anyone ever tell you that you look like Kyle Velly? Who is Kyle Nighttime? I'm sorry, I was looking at the
The
chat.
artist Kyle. Here, I'll send it to you.
mean-
That's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
that's actually kind of.
I'm gonna
That's
lie.
all right. That's
That
not
is
bad.
actually
That's a new
pretty
one.
freaking funny that he
I
said
get-
that you were like the artist.
That's a new one.
I get
Here, I'm gonna drop it in the
Drake.
chat for everyone.
Well, I've
I'm
heard-
about to do it
I've
right
heard
Someone
now.
said the wildest shit to me 2 days ago. Someone said I look like someone I look nothing like. I was like, do all black people look alike? Like what?
Oh my
So-
God, Val! I dropped
super
it in
duper Kyle.
chat and I dropped it in our Discord
Wait,
too.
let me take a look
I
at
mean,
this for a second.
he's not a bad looking guy, so you know.
He's not a bad looking dude.
Could be worse.
light-skinned.
Dude, if you want to
He
blow up
looks
on
like-
Instagram, just re-upload his pictures.
You know, he looks like more like Ludacris and Drake had a baby. Like
Ludicrous.
and Drake had a baby. Does he have like that
Yo.
head shape? Like you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wait, like the ludicrous head shape?
Yeah, with a little bit of Drake sprinkled in, you know what I'm saying? No, someone said I look
I think
like
chat agrees too.
He does got that the
He has
oval
Luda's
kind of head shape.
He has
He definitely
Luda's
got the head.
All right. Now, fast forward. Let's get back on track for a second. Yeah, I always get that I look like some type of light-skinned artist, and it's the funniest shit. But okay. All right, as talent. Now, we've seen a lot of news lately with Cadril being signed and whatnot. And shit, in Gears of War, we had ribs with Ghost Gaming. You know what I'm saying, Tyler? How do you guys feel about the news and just the conversation around on-air talent being within org? Does that add value to the broadcast? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it a conflict of interest?
Velly, we talked about this 2-3 years ago when we first really started getting into casting or just in the scene in general in esports. We said how different now things were back then that compared to now, where we said verbatim, we all agreed, me, you, Spaceman, Colin, we had this discussion that, no one tunes into a broadcast for the caster or just for the talent or the host. They tune in for the gameplay. But now, 3-4 years later, that has completely changed. I eat my words.
There's something I want to say, but I can't yet.
To be
I'm so
honest,
mad.
so okay, I don't think there's an issue of talent being reached out to about being part of an org or doing something with an org.
No.
I feel like that's completely fine. But there still needs to be a focus on conflict of interest. You know, I think that there needs to be, like, for example, I don't do esports broadcasts anymore because I'm an org owner. And I can be very impartial, but not everyone can. Also, some people within orgs aren't the greatest. Not every single person who's at an org is fair, contractually fair, So I think that like when it comes to that, it's a very fine line to walk. Now, if you're someone who you join an org because you want financial stability, but that you'll be an occasional guest, and let's just say that you don't do any of the broadcasting for the org competing, or your org doesn't compete in that specific game, that's completely fine. But when it gets a little bit murky, when you have talent and broadcasters that touch so many different esports, and then you're signed to an org, no, that's a conflict of interest. That is an issue that needs to improve in esports, especially, and that needs to get fixed. Now, like I said, there's certain things contractually and certain things that you can do that can like help with that situation. But I think that like once it gets out of control, where like a bunch of broadcasters now want to be signed to an org, like no. Because at that point, you got to make a decision whether you're going to stop doing broadcasting or doing that. Or you have to change. Maybe you can't do certain games anymore and you have to stop. Because then it's going to get too murky water. It's already murky waters in esports as it is. It's going to get too murky.
That's a conflict of interest.
And that's going to be an issue. Especially because orgs now are being bought up by so many different other companies and stuff. Like, there's so many conflict of interest issues.
What's going to happen?
Maybe they just need to up our pace so we don't got to do that.
That's true, too.
Listen, what publishers.
Do you feel like this is going to be inevitable if there isn't kind of a hard stop or something put on this type of concept sooner than later? Because what if we have some caster that's in like a grand finals and it just so happens they're scheduled to do so? Do you just get yoinked out because you're signed to an org that like technically is playing in that series? Like, how does that even work? Like, it's
if
something
Sean
that
Garris is supposed to cast the
now,
finals, and even though it's not going to happen, what if Gen G was in the finals? And Sean Garris has to get.
This is that same theoretical, like, oh, but what if, or it'll never happen, as like home team Super Bowls, and it's happened twice in 2 years. So like now you're just going to see this happen even more. I think in esports, the odds of it are just going to be greater now.
So Chad, I want to hear your opinion, dude. Like. Okay, so from what it sounds like right now, I think Erin hit the nail on the head, yo. As long as you're not like a staple of the broadcast, you're on all the time. You're a guest, you're here and there, you show up in the series that doesn't have to do with that team. I think that's perfectly fine. I think that's perfectly fine. When I was in Rainbow Six, E United reached out to me and they were gonna make me a content creator. That was when I was on my bullshit, man. I was streaming so hard. I miss it. I need to get back on it. Yeah, I got turned down like that. I heard that there's going to be exceptions because someone it's a conversation for another day. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Conflict of interest. It's rough.
What makes it rough too? It just makes the entire output rough for whoever's on broadcast or whatever those conflicts of interest would be. Because, all right, then you're going to have to do that push-pull where it's like, all right, well, I don't want to sound too biased, but then you're like kind of saying you're being too harsh almost against your team. That happens all the time with like former sports players that become broadcasters. They'll like actively shit on their own like home teams that they're all.
Not everybody's like that.
That happens a lot. Not all the time.
Not everybody's like that. Like, let's be real.
You're gonna have a lot of people debating on that.
We were in Gears of War together. Like, if Ghost Gaming or like Echo Fox needed to be criticized at that time, do you think that they would? No. The guy that did got fired. So it's like that conflict of interest is real. I don't think it should happen, to be completely honest. I think that if you can be a guest, yeah. Other than that, I just don't think it should be there because this is sports, and if we want to legitimize this, then we need to do that. Like, take a look at what's happening right now with the conversation around banning Russian teams and shit like that. Esports is bigger than people think it is, and we have to stop treating it like it's small. In order to do that, we have to go around things the right way. And if that's the case, good pay, conflict of interest need to be dealt with, and we need to handle things legitimately.
Yeah, we need to take things more seriously. That was kind of part of the. So I made a video yesterday where I was just basically talking about how like it's so important for individuals to diversify their work. But I also think that with it too is that there's a lot of individuals in various different spaces or in non-endemics that like feel like sometimes esports doesn't take things seriously, especially from a business perspective. And it's like, we got to start being a little more serious. I'm not saying take the personality out of people or orgs and stuff like that. That's not what I'm saying. But we also have to be more professional behind the scenes. There needs
I
to be
agree.
more structure. There needs to be more systems set in place for conflict of interest. But it's also a hard thing too. Like, so Velly, we talked about this before. It's hard where it's like, if there were more developed talent who could do grand finals, then yes, you could pass, you could say, hey, you can't do it because you're part of an org. But the problem is, I'll keep it a buck. Not every single broadcast talent has the skills yet to do the big stage. It's the truth. Like
Esports is so behind.
Like we all had to learn and grow. Like we weren't like how we are now was not how we are when we started, right? So it's like we don't have that developmental thing. That developmental process, I think, will help to kind of curb this issues a little bit, at least from a broadcasting standpoint.
I don't know. Esports is super far behind. Yeah. Hey, shout out to Rome in the chat, by the way. Is that Rome the caster? If so, how you been? How's your projects been and everything? No, you're absolutely right. Legitimizing things that we do, especially as this talent, yes. Hopefully that brings more money to us. But my ultimate thing is, if there's an issue. Wait, so Cadro got signed to an org? Is that what happened?
Content creator Excel for Excel.
Oh, and Excel is an LCS team, right?
Yeah, I'll drop the hold on. I'll drop the
Now the question is if Excel makes it to Worlds or whatever. So I like that though. You can be picked up by an org that's not the same league as you. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't have an issue with that. I guess the only thing is, especially him being an analyst, does Riot want to risk it, just pinning him up there and whatever backlash that could bring, whatever, or just removing him entirely from the segment?
I mean, he could be like
a guest analyst.
Guest analyst
that
from
works.
Excel side, but then whoever would be in the finals with them would also they should get a guest from that side too, to make it fair and pair it out.
This is where you see how good your talent is. If Cadro's up there and he's caping for Excel, he's caping and people know that it's wrong. Have someone up there that's just outspoken or on the other side to where they can be like, yo, you're wrong, homie, and they lay it out and they go at it on the analyst desk. I would love that personally. It could be done the right way. But I have seen cases where it has been done in a very big simp for your org way. So yeah. If it's out of your region, if it's out of your league, I say do it. I don't got a problem. I'm all in, baby.
That's true, Val. If you structure that the right way, that makes for beautiful content on broadcasts. It really does. As long as it's handled delicately in every aspect, because there's a lot of missteps you could take with that, though.
I'd say you either go home, you'll go big, or you go home. If you're gonna have those personalities, caping for their orgs, yeah, you got to make it an entertainment thing. The same way that freaking Charles Barkley and Shaq always go at each other. That shit is so entertaining. So I say if you're gonna be like that, then go hard.
I hope so, man. I hope so. I will say this: what they do with Yinsu and Valorant is perfect. Like, even when she covers like Bosa's games, like she keeps it real and honest. Unfortunately, not everybody's like that though. But yeah, I like it big time. But shit, that's pretty much my thought on that.
Yeah, I think honestly, we need more. I think that we do need more traditional training in this space when it comes to broadcasting. I 100% believe we need journalism training in esports because esports journalism is sometimes problematic.
It's a war out there. I see the drama.
Like, even certain things like, hey, there's certain information you need to double check before you just throw it out there. And then people hide behind saying it's a rumor instead of putting some validity behind it. Like there's certain things that, because I'm trained as a journalist. There's certain things that you're trained as that you have to get better at. Also, you can't call yourself a journalist if you're getting free products and you're accepting free products. That's actually against the journalism ethics code. So there's so much on the media and journalism side that I feel like we need to get more traditional people to come in and treat so then people can take these things more seriously.
Journalism is a broad spectrum when it comes to gaming though. Like, is Jake Sucky a fucking journalist?
No.
Is he another Keemstar?
No, he's not a journalist. I'm not saying it to be disrespectful, but
we're not being disrespectful.
But he's getting free jerseys from orgs. That's against the journalism code. A perfect example would be Gene Park from Washington Post. He talks about it. You can't receive free things. You can't, you can't get any of that. You can't be sponsored. Like, that's why I don't call myself a journalist anymore. I was trained as a journalist, but you're gonna never hear me call myself a journalist. Jake Lucky's not a journalist.
I have a question
and I'm
for
not
you,
saying
Erin.
that in a bad way. This is just the facts
Was
of what I
Intel
was
Vel
taught.
was Intel Vel a journalist?
Intel Bell was 100% a fucking journalist. He was the fucking best, yo. You know what's funny about that, Tyler and Erin? You know what? This is a
Yeah.
conversation for another day.
Okay.
When I did Intel Bell, I was the Woj. I was the Fion. I was the everybody that was able to come out with like groundbreaking news, roster changes, everything to keep people up to date. And it was impromptu streams with immediate 500 to 1,000 viewers, like Mixer
Okay.
from Page. I was killing it. They didn't appreciate that shit then, Tyler. I was jaking them before Jake. Like, yo, I was Black
fact.
Keemstar, but just not a dickhead, man. Like, it was some good shit. It's funny to see, and I want to talk about it another time, the difference between esports at like the lower tiers compared to the higher tiers, and why the difference is the way it is. Because the thing is, and this is the scary reality of it, the people that are in those bottom levels, they have no idea what esports is really like. Like, yo, when I talk about international play and the difference between like the different regions and how they play against each other, and just call it, I'm talking about that in like a fantasy world in Call of Duty to some of the Call of Duty people. Like, they get me, but it's hard to conceptualize, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, you got these Call of Duty guys in North America, this the way they play and whatnot, but what if we open the borders to like Brazil? Like, more in Europe, maybe some Asian countries and see how that changes the game and the landscape. I don't know. Like, I would like to talk about the growth that can be had in esports with talent and the scenes combined.
Yeah. And I think that we also have to be a little more clear and concise in terms of roles and titles and what people are. Like, I see Rome and chat were asking, okay, if Jake is not a journalist, then what could he be? I said a personality. I think that's fair to just say, I think that, when we look at media, when we look at journalism, there are just certain things, and more specifically journalism. They're just, I dropped actually in chat, if you guys want to take a look at the ethics codes for journalism is right there. There's just certain things that you just can't do when you're a journalist. So like, if you, like I said, if you, these are codes that we're taught in college, if you go to a journalism program. So once you get kind of past that point, like, it's really murky waters if you refer yourself as a journalist. And Jake doesn't refer to himself as a journalist. I think Jake, he's doing a phenomenal job. He's doing
personality,
great.
yeah.
He's doing such a great job, yeah. But I think that it's more so for people who are viewing to understand that there is a difference between a personality and a journalist. I think that's like the most important takeaway.
Yeah. You know what, Rome? Oh, Tyler, I have a question.
What's up?
As well. This is a side topic. I know we're running short on time. How do you feel about the transition from a game like Gears of War to games like Valorant and stepping out into bigger scenes like that?
As a talent,
I know, Erin, as your co-host. I know I'm going way left. You know how my brain works. I have like ADHD. These are just things that are popping up.
I don't
right
care.
now.
Go ahead.
I miss doing this. I'm sorry.
As a talent, it's a lot more difficult than if you were doing any other role, and that's an on-air talent. I want to specify, because I mean, depending on what game you have, I think here's where a lot of my own insecurities come from. I'll just be real and throw it out there.
Be real with me, baby.
If I got out of nowhere offered to do like a cast for Valorant's a good example. I'll say Overwatch, because I've been really out of the Overwatch scene admittedly recently. So I'll just use that game as an example. I would be a lot more nervous than if I got an offer to do a battle royale, because I know a lot about battle royales. A lot of them are the same. Whereas like a game where Overwatch, a game like Valorant, as you said, if you're transitioning from Gears to Valorant, the amount of mechanics that you need to now learn, the different agents and how they are all going to mesh with composition.
They're learning to grow to get into the scene.
There is so much more of a curve that you have to really get through that, yeah, it's a lot harder. And I mentioned it, seeing how Rome mentioned it, it's a good way that there's no like real I guess, hub for like talent learning or cast
getting
learning,
to.
because it's a sink or
Yes.
swim method with a lot of talent, and it is very true.
Now, to legitimize what we do as well, Aaron, I think a hub would be great. And I'm happy that you transitioned into that, Tyler, because it's like for some people, you work in one game, and then when that one game is over, or your run is over in that one game, you're done.
It could be like an identity crisis you kind of run into.
That it's not like that in other career fields.
No.
There's transitions that you can go through to get through things, but not here. You got to luck it out in a tier 3 league for a $50 cast.
Well, also, I mean, even in like traditional broadcasting, right? There's tiers to it, right? Like you can go to a smaller market, a regional market, then you can go national, then you can go big time, or you can go from being even like a print and digital journalist over into TV. Like it's just there's a lot more opportunities. We don't really have that in esports and or gaming. I'll be honest, like that's part of the reason why I've been doing a lot of brand work and broadcast work outside of esports and gaming, because there's not that many opportunities. And if there are, mine's limited now because I don't do esports broadcasting. And I think that I'm hoping that when there's more opportunities, there's more chances for talent to really showcase what they can do on different levels, but we just don't have that right now.
Oh, well, one day. Well, I will say this, though. For us getting on live and doing this again, this has been fun. Yeah, I've been crushing it. I will say this. I was listening to the spaces that you guys did, the one that I hopped into as well, where you guys like, oh, no, it's not.
Last like 15 seconds.
Yeah, 15
It's still
seconds.
counted. It's still counted, in my opinion.
You guys have been crushing it. Hold on. Rome says, I had my first hosting gig and wanted advice from people like you all, but nobody replied to my DMs. So I went in with no help whatsoever to 10,000. Whoa. 10,000 people. A hub would be nice. And guess what? He probably didn't know his worth for an event of that size.
That's another big
He
trouble.
wasn't ready and just hopped right in.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that imposter syndrome can affect
That's
casters,
scary.
because they'll be like, "Oh,
That's
I'm not worth as much as I should be." That can mess a lot of people up.
Imposter syndrome is a bitch, but you're gonna always get imposter syndrome at various points in your career.
True.
Until you just don't get. Listen, I got a Call of Duty event this weekend. Usually, I will get nervous over shit like this. I'm like, listen, man, fuck it. Listen,
whatever.
They gonna hate me. They gonna love me. Shit, I had a dream that I opened a show and I was like, listen, like, fuck it, give me the fire. Y'all fucking ready for this big event? I just want to go in and have fun.
This man
Like,
Velly
that's
has it all figured out. Everybody.
Have
No,
you
it's
seen?
important. You gotta have fun. You gotta
Have you
love
seen
what
my
you
life?
do.
Yes.
I haven't figured out, Tyler. If I haven't figured out, the God bless anyone that does it, because goddamn, it's so bad.
Aaron, that's true
seriously.
though, because otherwise, what the fuck we doing here if you're not having fun with it?
You gotta have fun, and you can't be afraid of messing up. Every freaking broadcaster in the world has messed up, so you can't stress about those things. You just gotta put out a good energy, do a great job, put out a good product. That's all you can do. Some people are gonna love it, some people are gonna hate it. Who fucking cares?
I would love it. Are we gonna do a spaces this week?
If we want to, we can. I think we should important to say that everyone who's tuning into the stream today, we are going to be live streaming every Tuesday. So we are, we probably around this time, maybe we'll change the time. I don't know, but we are going to be doing episodes live with guests, just us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen,
it is.
the goal is Tuesdays, but guess what, y'all? Velly got a new job, and Velly went off the fucking grid. So yeah, I fucked it up. So I need to make it up to both of these, and then Rome. Genesis, Titan, all of y'all need to be there. No, seriously though. Let's see if we can get. Okay, so how about this? I work. Let's try to fit one in. If not like a regular time, I'm down for like a late night talk or something.
Wake my old ass up. I'll be down.
Not that late, you know what I'm saying? But we'll game plan. But other than that, I'm happy to be here again. And for everyone in the chat, I really thank you guys for pulling up. Every single one of you. This was a pleasant surprise. I love you all. Thank you.
Yes, appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. Like I said, next Tuesday we will have another episode. We'll change the time. We'll figure it out. But just know it'll be always on Tuesdays. And if we do have spaces, we will let you guys know in Discord. Tyler, you wanna?
What you gotta say, Tyler?
What you got to say, Tyler?
I'm loving the community that we have been growing. There's so many people all over Twitter and different areas that are now coming together in a lot of our chats and our Discord, everything. I love the people that we've been communicating with that have been loving these talks. You guys are amazing. Both of you two. You guys are the best.
You're so cute, Tyler. Oh yeah, a message to everybody out there as well. Listen, like Aaron, I hit one of those, when you grind hard and you just want to just everything.
Yeah.
Like I hit that. So to all you people out there, I just want to say this, man. Like, yeah, the grind is real. The grind is good. Everybody talks about, I'll sleep when I die. Fuck that shit. Get some sleep, get some rest. Most importantly, take care of yourselves. No matter what stage in life that every single one of you are in, always take care of yourself first, and take some time off to love yourself. That's really my message. I took some time off the last week, and even though I got a lot of catching up to do, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I definitely recommend you all take care of your mental as well. So
Well
yeah,
said, man.
love you all.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Love you guys.
See you next Tuesday.
Take care.
Adios, y'all.